Welcome to the Comox Lake Watershed. The Comox Lake Watershed is an interconnected system of mountains, forests, rivers, creeks, and wetlands that form an ecological corridor that links Vancouver Island Mountains with the Salish Sea. It's located in the traditional territory of the Comox First Nation and provides drinking water for the residents of the Comox Valley. A watershed is a specific area of land that captures water as rain and snow. That water all flows through the landscape to the same place. The Comox Lake Watershed reaches from the top of the Comox Glacier and the Vancouver Island Mountain Range, flows down the mountains into Comox Lake, and then out through the Puntledge River to the Salish Sea. Within this watershed, there are smaller watersheds called subbasins, named for the creeks and rivers that flow through them, including the Upper Puntledge, Crookshank, Boston Creek, and Perseverance Creek subbasins. In total, the Comox Lake Watershed is 461 square kilometers in size, a huge area. The Comox Lake Watershed has been the home of Indigenous people for thousands of years. The lake is part of a natural corridor from the east to the west side of the island, and was used for trade and travel between Indigenous peoples long before the arrival of European settlers. This area was also used seasonally by the Pentlech people to harvest berries, cedar bark, and hunt game. When settlers arrived in the late 1800s, the watershed became a center for coal mining, logging, and recreation. These activities have all placed pressures on the ecological health of the watershed for over 140 years. The first dam was installed at Comox Lake in 1912 to provide power generation for local coal mines. In the 1960s, the Comox Lake Watershed became the source of drinking water for the region, and currently provides for over 50,000 residents through the Comox Valley Water System and Cumberland Water System. Although coal mining operations ended in the 1930s, much of the watershed is still privately owned and managed for timber supply. As well, the lake is a reservoir controlled by BC Hydro for power generation and fish flows in the Puntledge River. Swimming, boating, sporting events, training exercises, and camping also take place at limited sites along the eastern end of the lake. All of these activities can impact the health of our watershed, and the demand for access to Comox Lake is only growing as the local population expands and visitation increases. How can we lessen our impact on this precious resource? What can we do, both as individuals and as communities, to protect the Comox Lake Watershed? High-quality drinking water is produced by healthy, functioning ecosystems. To ensure the water reaching our taps is safe and reliable, we need to protect the source. What people do on the land and in the water directly affects the health of the watershed and the quality and quantity of the fresh water within it. By acting responsibly, we can help protect the Comox Lake Watershed for future generations. When visiting Comox Lake Watershed, there are important things to remember. The Comox Lake Watershed is an important habitat for fish and wildlife, including species at risk like Roosevelt elk, little brown bats, and northern red-legged frogs. Comox Lake flows into the Puntledge River where it provides stream flows that support many species of salmon. Our actions in the watershed directly impact the creatures who live there. Everything that goes into our drinking water has an impact. Fuel, bilges, soaps, and sunscreen contaminate the water, and sediment reduces our ability to detect harmful microorganisms like E. coli. Be sure to use designated bathrooms and pick up dog waste to reduce pathogens entering our drinking water system. Avoid using skin products that wash off in the water, and never fuel up, empty, or clean boats, bilges, or recreation vehicles in or around Comox Lake. Healthy forests and creeks are critical to the health of the watershed. Creekside vegetation and soils moderate stream flow, and root systems intercept, filter, hold, and slowly release water, preventing erosion and flooding. Off-trail foot traffic and motorized vehicles like ATVs and dirt bikes can cause significant damage. All visitors to the watershed should stay on established trails and out of the creeks, waterways, and forested areas. Forest fires are one of the greatest risks to our watershed, and a small fire can quickly get out of control. Changing climate conditions and summer droughts create tinder dry conditions in the Comox Lake watershed. You can lessen the risk of forest fires by camping only in designated areas, following fire bans, being aware of fire risks like sparks from engines, and reporting unauthorized fires to local fire protection services. Our community and the climate are both changing. Our community is growing, and visitation is increasing, which is placing pressures on the Comox Lake watershed. Climate change is also creating challenges for the watershed, with extreme weather events like atmospheric rivers and droughts increasingly common. Join the community by working in cooperation with local conservation and recreation organizations, keeping our own personal impacts low, and sharing our knowledge with others so we can coexist with the watershed and keep it healthy, now and into the future. Thank you for taking the time to learn more and helping to protect our watershed. Whether you're a resident or a visitor of the Comox Lake watershed, you are a part of this special place because we're all connected by water.